Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thank you so much for tuning in here on Saturday, November 18th, one sleep away from the Jaguars taking on the hated Tennessee Titans. Jaguars arch rivals for, pretty much their entire franchise history. The Titans have been a thorn in the side for the Jaguars. Not last year. Jaguars swept the Titans. This is their first matchup this year. I've got some bold predictions for y'all. Really appreciate you tuning in. If you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. You can also check out genjag.com/shop. Pick up some new Duval gear. Get a hat like I'm wearing right now. Again, that's genjag.com/shop. Really appreciate y'all. All right, so we'll start with a couple things for the Titans. I think Derrick Henry does get over 100 rushing yards. He typically is able to get, at least 75 to 80 yards against the Jaguars. Oftentimes it is over 100 yards on the ground for Derrick Henry. But for me, it's going to be on close to 30 carries. So not a super efficient day for Derrick Henry, but I do think a lot of that is going to come on one or two big runs. When I look at what the Jaguars defense has going on, obviously a very good run defense, hasn't been as good as of late. I think not having Tyson Campbell has been a big part of that. I think Gus Logue pointed that out this week as well from Big Cat Country. Tyson Campbell is a great run defending corner, and without him, I think that they, quite frankly, struggle a little bit more on the edge, on the boundary of the defense to slow down rushing attacks. Slowing down Derrick Henry is not the same as slowing down Christian McCaffrey, and I think the Jaguars will do a better job of slowing down Derrick Henry. But when the Titans try to hit that outside zone, I think without Tyson Campbell there, you're talking about Darius Williams, Buster Brown, maybe Gregory Jr. That's not a favorable matchup. So I think there will be a couple runs where Derrick Henry is able to get outside and bust off a long one. And you just hope it's not for 70 yards, it's for 30 yards or 20 yards, I think that the Jaguars defense will rebound in a good way overall. I just don't think that Buster Brown or Darius Williams is ready to be the type of impact run defender out there that Tyson Campbell generally is when he plays the Titans. I mean, we've seen him against the Titans, against the Colts, lots of teams with really good running backs. We've seen him go one-on-one with these top running backs and win. So I do think Derrick Henry does a little bit of damage. I think Will Levis is going to throw for some yards, 250 yards through the air. I could see that for him, but I think he's going to throw some turnovers as well, have some turnovers. The guy over the last 2 weeks has been putting the ball in harm's way a ton. 6 turnover-worthy plays in the last 2 games. I know I said that last week about Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy has a much better supporting cast, and I think he's just a better quarterback right now, and he just made some incredible plays. I think Brock Purdy made some plays in that game that Brock Purdy was shocked he made, and that he would not be able to do it again. Give him 10 tries, I think he does it one time. That throw to George Kittle with guys all over him was incredible, and the throw in the end zone, he should not have thrown that. I think Kyle Shanahan said that was the worst play of Brock Purdy's career, or the dumbest, whatever it was. And it was. There's no reason for that to be caught by Brandon Ayuk. Jaguars defender had to get a hand on that. So my point is, I don't think the Jaguars defense is going to let Will Levis get away with what Brock Purdy got away with last week. Again, he's been turning the ball over a lot the last couple weeks. I do like Will Levis overall. I mean, he's talent. He brings juice to the field, both from the arm perspective, arm talent, and with his athleticism. So he's a good football player, good young player, but does not have a quality offensive line. In fact, it's been atrocious, the pass protection up front for the Tennessee Titans this year. So I just think that Will Levis is going to be able to air it out a little bit, but it's still going to look like it was a really tough day for him, and it is going to be a tough day because he's going to have a hard time getting the football to his guys with this Jaguars defense that is going to be wanting to rebound in a big way after, everybody talks about the offense, what they did against the San Francisco 49ers, how poorly they played. The defense did not play well either. The Jaguars defense needs a rebound game, and I think unfortunately for Will Levis, it's going to be in this one. Talking about Jaguars up front, and speaking of that Titans offensive line, Titans pass protection, Josh Allen, multiple sack game. He loves playing against the Titans. This is one of these teams that, as soon as players get drafted, it's the only team. As soon as players get drafted to Jacksonville, we hate the Titans. And Josh Allen has talked about that. He has had good games against them in the past. Multiple sacks for Josh Allen. He's had multiple sack games 3 times already this year. He has another one, in my opinion, this week. And I think Trayvon Walker adds a sack as well. Talked about Darius Williams not being as good of a run defender as Tyson Campbell. He is a willing run defender, and he's a good tackler. So we'll see how that plays out. But the reason he's here is to cover. And I think cover he will. I think he's going to have multiple pass breakups and an interception in this one. He's due for an interception. He's been getting his hands on the ball more than anybody else at the cornerback position in 2023. I think Darius Williams gets one of those interceptions against Will Levis. I think Devin Lloyd, I think he'll have a big day. He wasn't bad all last game, but there was some glaring plays, specifically the George Kittle touchdown where he was one-on-one. And Andre Sisco, I think he bit down on something. And the 49ers got him. He was supposed to be there to help Devin Lloyd down the field, single high coverage. He wasn't there. And so these are 2 really good young players for the Jaguars. I think they're going to be defensive stars for the Jaguars for a while. I think they have a good game. I think they have a bounce-back game. Andre Sisco and Devin Lloyd do, and kind of right the ship and help this defense play a much better football game. Looking at the Jaguars offense, I do believe Trevor Lawrence rebounds as well, because that's what he's done throughout his career. Still only 1 passing touchdown for him in this game. I don't think it's going to be a multiple passing touchdown game. It very well could be. The Titans defense has struggled, in coverage. But for me, looking at the Jaguars, I don't think that all is going to be fixed this week. I still think that there are some issues in the passing game and offense overall. So I don't think it's going to be like some banner day for Trevor Lawrence where he's 300 plus yards and multiple touchdowns and all that stuff. But I do think it's going to be an efficient game for Trevor Lawrence. I think he's going to score a touchdown. I think he's going to take care of the football this week and get the Jaguars a win. I do think ETN will get back in the end zone this week. Had a rough outing last week. The Jaguars kind of abandoned the run early on. But Travis Etienne, outside of last week, he's been doing it all year for the Jaguars rushing attack. Again, despite the Jaguars having a really poor efficiency, they're not effective on a down-to-down basis as a running team. Travis Etienne does bust off big runs, and he carries this rushing attack, quite frankly. I think he's going to have a couple big runs in this one, and he will hit pay dirt for the Jaguars, getting in the end zone. Calvin Ridley. This one might be more of a wish than a prediction, but get this man the football. I think 75 plus yards for Ridley. The Jaguars have heard all about it. I think they know that when they traded for him, they did not expect him to just be winning thanks to pass interference calls, right? They expected him to be catching the football and doing big things for their offense. So far, that hasn't happened consistently, and I think a big reason for that is his usage. They've been using him primarily as just an X receiver, lined up one-on-one and against a lot of press coverage. I think they've got to get him moving around the formation and using him in different ways for him to become more effective in this Jaguars offense. And yeah, I hear Press Taylor and Doug Peterson talking about the pass interferences, which are great. I mean, drawing pass interference is huge, no doubt about it. But you need to get this man the football in a bigger way, in my opinion. I think Brandon McManus, it's another big day for him. He's had some big days for the Jaguars so far. Predicting 3+ field goals for Brandon McManus. As I said, I think the Jaguars defense will force turnovers. I think the Jaguars offense will be put in some good positions. I think they'll move the ball a little bit, but this is a team that struggles in the opponent's territory, in the red zone. And so for me, as long as they're taking care of the football, which I expect them to, and as long as they're not doing great things on offense, which I also kind of expect that, I expect a lot of Brandon McManus. So I think 3 field goals for him is obviously a bold prediction, but I think he's definitely going to have multiple field goals. We'll put it that way. The Jaguars are favored by 7. I will give them 8. 25-17, a lot of field goals, as I mentioned, in this one for both teams. I think the defense, despite allowing Derrick Henry on a couple big runs, like I said, I think they'll force some turnovers, get the Jaguars some short fields. Brandon McManus will take care of the rest. The Jaguars, I think that they're kind of nursing a lead late in the second half, like many of their wins this year, and that kind of they've been trying to sit, Doug Peterson and Press Taylor. Once they get a lead in the second half, They've just been kind of trying to sit on the ball and get out of there with a victory instead of really putting it to the other team. That's been what they've done this year. I think they're going to continue to do that against the Titans this week. They're going to get to 7-3, and then they will have a huge matchup against the Houston Texans in Houston the following week. Could be, if the Texans win this week, for the lead in the division. Will be really interesting to follow how the Texans perform. But Jaguars, Titans, I've got the Jaguars getting a big dub for you at home. Only their second home win of 2023. They're 1-3 right now. If the Jaguars don't go get this win, it is going to be a really, really long week next week. But let's hope they can go get it done. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. Hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. Follow Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag. Please, if you enjoy the content, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And of course, check out genjag.com/shop. Pick up some new Duval gear. Y'all have a good one.